back to the Bad Blood Podcast, everybody. Today we've got an old friend on the show, Lewis Francis, my man. How are you?
How are you doing, mate? All right?
I'm doing good, my man. It's been a while since we last seen you.
Long time.
Just before we get started though, Lewis has got something close to his heart that he wants to get off. It's about a charity, First Contact. Lewis?
Yeah, so there's a charity called First Contact UK, and they help deal with people who's had mental health problems and they've tried to commit suicide, or they've got ongoing mental health problems and commit suicide, and the families and all the problems that come with that. They're actually on raising funds to do, they're doing a walk in October 2024 across the Camino de Santiago. I think it's a desert or something. They walk across the hills for 10 days, and they're getting a few people out to tell them about the stories of like what they've been through and how they've recovered from them issues and that. The next fundraiser is the 30th of September. It's at a place near Middlesbrough called Eston Helen Shaw Centre, and it's a football tournament, five-a-side walk-in football tournament on the 30th of September between 2 and 4. There'll be refreshments and food and that there, and they're just trying to raise money obviously for this trip that they've got going. It's something really close to my heart, as you know, everybody knows I'm suffering with mental health myself, so yeah, if people can get behind that and try and back it a little bit, then yeah, that'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, we'll do everything we can. We'll get the links set up. We'll even get a share to the page. It's something close to our hearts as a podcast as well. Mental health is a big killer that's killed many of my friends. It would be amazing if we could just group together and get that.
Well, the last thing you did, you walked to from Middlesbrough to Marbella. Obviously, they walked a full way every day, doing like 20-30 miles or something to make money for them last time. Obviously, and it was amazing what he did that time. You know, a man called Thomas Judge who runs it. It's a big thing. He's doing massive things for people who are in that situation. So to make it behind him, like, and help him out. So yeah,
Bill will definitely give him all the push that he needs, and yeah, we'll definitely get to the shower. So Lewis, it's been a while since we last seen you. How's things been keeping?
Yeah, so we've been right through the middle really, like since the last podcast obviously I got beat off David Duncan. I think we were talking to you just before that one. Got caught with a shot, he put us down, got stopped second round. I felt like I was boxing alright, but can blame it on a lot of things, but he was a better man on the day, like I said, it was a good fight.
Can you just can you elaborate on a couple of things, what happened through that fight?
Well, I just didn't feel like I had the best fight camp, obviously. I think I spent a bit too much of the day probably at the venue, and I did the ring walk about 5 or 6 times for all like my team members and stuff. Like, there's a few things I think I overworked on the pads a bit, you know, things happen, inexperience and that. And obviously I probably went a bit too hard in the first round, got caught with a shot, you know. Obviously it's boxing, it happens, it's everywhere boxing, and it happens. You know, it wouldn't be called fighting if we were all going out there and winning every time. So yeah, obviously that's basically what happened. He got us on the day. I'm still keen for the rematch. Definitely keen for the rematch.
Keen for the rematch though?
We don't know. Obviously, I think afterwards I fought Wayne, and I went on to win the British title with Wayne, and I think Wayne and him had a fight. I'm not really sure on the outcome. Did Wayne beat him?
I'm not too sure. I can't remember.
Was that an alley
Did the fight?
I think they were meant to fight in alley bros. I don't know if they had it or not in the end.
I can't remember. I'm sure Wayne, did he not go up to Scotland or somewhere for that?
I'm not sure. It'd be nice if shame we'd never had Wayne in it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Good to see him.
He's a good lad, Wayne. I used to coach him. Like, it was only for a couple of fights, but you know, when things just, because we didn't have like a place to train, so we just anywhere we could, we'll train. But he had a solidified gym, and I'm not gonna say he thought the grass was greener on the other side, but all the equipment and all that still doesn't take away from, like, I'm not saying I'm a customer or anything like that, but when you're a certain stamp and certain size, that's stuff you've got to do to train that. Not to add to that. So I just had to walk away through another coach's involvement. Once it didn't go your way on that night, how did you reevaluate?
Obviously it was the first proper defeat that I'd had, so obviously like I had a bit of like, I felt sorry for myself truthfully. Obviously went on a bit of a bender for I think about a week or something. I ended up all over the country, and then come back, fought right. There was a song that was like "Don't Stop Just Yet," I think it was, and while that belt was on me, and it got into my head, and obviously as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, don't stop yet, just because I've been beat. started building up again. You know, come back from the depths. Obviously, you've got to do it over and over again all my life. If you write a book about me, it'll be like the ups and downs. You know, like obviously I've been at the bottom of every mountain, I've been at the top of it, and that's just where my life's been. But yeah, so like I said, built myself back up again, hit the gym hard, thought right, we can come back from this, and we did. Got in against, I had an opponent sorted out. It was meant to be, I always forget his name. The big 21 stone fella, what was his name again? Oh man, he jacked on us 6 weeks before the fight. Oh. I always forget his name.
Somebody Hutton. No,
the big massive 21 stone. It's on my phone. I'm just on my
poster.
But anyway, he pulled out on us 6 weeks before the fight.
Is that big behemoth from Scotland with a baldy head?
Oh, he's got black hair. He's a big old bloke anyway. He's bigger, taller than me. 21 stone. The man's a pure powerhouse, big plodger. Anyway, so been fighting me, pulled out. And obviously through the pit fighting, me and Wayne had crossed paths before. British title supposed to be on then at one point, but he chased after the transatlantic, if you remember. Can you remember?
Yes.
And then he went on to be world champion, and then the fight never got made. And that's when we become allies, like in the fighting game. Me and him become real good friends after that. Right. We just didn't look like we ever want to cross paths. So it was like, yeah. I get a phone call with Darren. He's like, oh yeah, he's pulled out. He says, but we've got you another opponent. I was like, all right. I was like, he was like, yeah. He said, if you're happy, like, it's Wayne Morgan. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, like, you know what I mean? Like, of all people, it could be Wayne. I was like, aye. I was like, buzzing. So I was like, right. I messaged him. I was like, right, let's put a good show on here, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got what it takes. Both of us here. This is going to be a good slugfest.
Well, if you think about it, though, right? You think of Spartans heavyweights at one time, right? And that division was stacked, brother. Yeah. If you think about it, you had yourself, Mike Marshall, Wayne. You had Aaron Lamborn. You had. Was it Mike Marshall? No, I said Mike Marshall.
Yeah, Mike Marshall was in there. Aaron Lamborn.
That was Stevie Gold.
Stevie Gold was in there. What was the other one called? Obviously myself, Wayne. I'm doing terrible with everybody's names at the moment. I feel like I put myself on the spot because I'm like, yeah. But what do you call it? Everybody who's from at the time was achieving something spectacular. Obviously, like I've still got a photo on my phone. Do you know what I'm going to send you over because it'll be handy to put on with this right in this video for this. But it says who's the king of the heavyweights or something. Who's going to arise or something like that. It was made by Sparta. I've still got it on my phone and I'm in there in the background tensing up and all of us are on there and obviously if you look at everybody who was in at that time, we were all shining through at the time. I tell you what, the Mike Marshall fight never got made between me and him and there was a lot of back and forward.
Loads of back and forward.
And he just disappeared, didn't he?
He did,
what happened?
He had that fight with that 17-year-old and then he's gone. He's just went off. I've not heard from him.
That would have been a fight. I remember I got a message off the promoter and he said, he was like, have you got Facebook? And I'd only just got out of jail not long before. He was like, because the world champions started calling you out. I was like, oh, is he? So and anyway, next day I got somebody to set a Facebook for us because I'm not very good with Facebook. Instagram I can manage, Facebook's not my thing. So yeah. The world champion started calling him out, so I've got my pal who's like does all the pictures and somebody sets on Facebook and I've got my pal to like cut his head out and put it on a ballerina. And then I went onto the group chat and I've just slapped it straight onto the group chat saying I thought this man was a bare knuckle boxer. Do you know what I mean?
And honestly because the plans was at that time we were going to do like a heavyweight tournament and if it had came off we would have generated some of the best fights and now you're doing what I mean.
Well, 100%. It was lethal, like it was good.
It was booming, bro. Like, so obviously you've regrouped from the defeat. How did you regroup and recharge mentally? As in, like, what steps did you put in place that led to the defeat? What did you do
to be truthful? Obviously, I had it because obviously I'm a very loyal friend to me. So obviously, like I was in a team set up by people who were previously friends and then become fight coaches. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously, and then so I've just thought, right, let's go for it. We'll all jump in together. We'll make something of it. So I've jumped in with them, and then obviously, so after that, I just think, right, I have to think about myself. obviously I'm not blaming anybody in particular because I should have realised through the fight camp as well, but just obviously the training was next level. It was proper really good training, but just personally for me it wasn't what I require.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like anybody else, obviously it'll work for them, and multiple champions will come out of that maulers. Do you know what I mean? But just for me, I just didn't feel like it was right for me. So obviously I just walked away, went back to where I knew where I was felt best.
Yeah.
Right, which is with Davy Grant and SBG. And just said, listen, can't be getting beat again. Like this is it. I'm gonna knuckle them down training. I'm gonna obviously my family name. Obviously I'm carrying it. Obviously, and I've got to give that back about the stern on. So obviously I had to go back and get this win just for my family name.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing, do you know what I mean? So yeah, so hit the drawing board and started doing my runs again. I remember we were doing a lot of treadmill work for the David Duncan fight. Never really hit the road. Obviously most of my fights I'm on the roads.
Right.
So
how many miles are you doing during
it depends. Obviously, like on a rest day I'm doing 3 mile runs. Do you know what I mean? But then it's the way that I do the runs.
Yeah,
so obviously, like sometimes I might be doing runs with sprint chains. It just depends. I do all different types of things. Sometimes I'm doing hill runs, hill sprints. Obviously, sometimes like staircase around my way. So I think it's got like 1,000 steps in it. Up a big hill. We live in a place called Ferry Hill, it's got a hill. So obviously what do you call it, there's about 1,000 steps in it, and sometimes it's running, sprinting up them and then just nice steady jog back down. I do all different types of running. But at the time we were doing, for the David Duncan fight, it was just all treadmills. So when I rebounded, I was like, right, I'm not hitting the treadmills. I don't feel like my legs are strong enough. Back on the roads. Do you know what I mean? Where the resistance is needing the resistance. And so I just started from there, just the little things that I thought personally was wrong. I rectified that. Do you know what I mean? And just to prove to myself it wasn't me. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think you needed that to happen?
Everybody, listen, any fighter who hasn't been big, hasn't been fighting the right people. Like obviously you learn more from the defeats than you do from the wins. Do you know what I mean? Obviously you need to get beat. I went from hay bale fighting to boxing. Obviously, I know I boxed when I was a kid and I was quite successful boxing when I was a kid, but obviously like I hadn't done it for that long, and I went to hay bale fighting. There's a different level. Hay bale fighting and boxing, there's 2 different things. Obviously, so there's like 2 different styles involved in it, do you know what I mean? And so yeah, so when I went back to the boxing, obviously I've had to realise that this is boxing, not hay bales, it's controlled aggression. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if like, yeah, so that's what we did, and I went in and I boxed. I got everything right. Trained, did my footwork, everything, and I trained. And I remember saying, because obviously by David Duncan I was rushing in just to try and get any early stoppage, and I said all the way through the weighing fight, I said I'm going a full 4 rounds with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going all 4 rounds. So I'm not trying to put him down early. I'm doing all 4 rounds watch. And I said all the way through the fight camp, and I think I stopped him in the last 20 seconds of the 4th round. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I had it in my head all the way through. The shot I got him with was the shot that I'd been working on for him.
Right.
So the full fight camp came together. Everything I said come true.
Envisioned.
Do you know what I mean? And that was it. Obviously we worked hard. Like it was like we just proved success. Do you know what I mean? And I went and got myself off to Blackpool for a week and after it. Do you know what I mean? I remember seeing him after the fight and he couldn't find his top, and I was a bit sick because I love that top. I know I cut the sleeves off to get my gloves in. Killer Gorilla jump that. I cut the sleeves off to get my gloves in, so obviously like, and he was sat there, he couldn't find his top, so I was like, here bro, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We were telling each other in the 4th round, we loved each other, we were hitting each other, man. Do you know what I mean? I fucking love you, bro.
It's a bond that no other can give.
Me and him had been on the journey there. Like we'd started in the same place. Like obviously we worked our way through. We'd been all over the world. Like obviously I know a lot of people. Like there was I got some bits of trolls in that through Facebook and saying, you're going to let you beat like the fat kid and all that. I was thinking like they obviously haven't looked at his career because he's been all over the world and he's been one of the, especially bare knuckle, he was like a really big.
This is the difference, Lewis, because a lot of people from our town will say that because they'll look at his shit. Wayne
can fight.
Yeah, Wayne.
You can't take that away from him.
No.
Listen, Wayne is a fighter and he's tough. He's hard to fucking hurt.
He's very game.
He's
very
listen, he gave me a good fight. That was like obviously I loved every second of it. You know what I mean? But I got a couple of people trolling us. I just told them, I said, listen, you go fight him. Do you know what I mean?
Strong,
do you know what I mean?
Tough, he's durable, he's got the experience.
He's an animal. Look at Tyson Fury. Hasn't got a body made of marble.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But look at what he's achieving. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And when not a lot of people know this, he's got a lot of amateur boxing experience because this is the problem that we had. Like when we were transferring from the pit to the ring, he wanted to just bum rush Billy O'Vaughan and just do like the Spartan and get him and rough him up and tie him up and working on the inside, chop the body, come up. By God, he was sat on the jab and he boxed beautifully. You know what I mean? And people were like, "Oh, Wayne can't box eggs." I'm thinking, yeah, he's in for a shock here. He's very, very underrated. Very underrated.
Yeah, I just you shouldn't judge people on appearance regardless.
No, definitely.
Obviously, like it's a stigma that comes with the world, and fucking obviously this is why we're in this situation. This is why charities like I've just called out have to exist, because a lot of people judge people. Social media is like was responsible for it half the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're in those.
No, everybody's cropping photos and all that to make it look perfect. It's just the type of world that we live in at the moment, you know.
We've never been watched as much. We've never been, basically, we've never found ourselves in a situation where more eyes is on, like, as an individual.
I truly believe, if you, like, at the end, obviously I'm very religious, everybody knows that. I truly believe in Revelations of the Bible where the end of the world is. Like, obviously the things that are predicted in the end of the Bible are all coming true. Like, there's no such thing as freedom anymore. It's like literally, if you go back like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, like obviously everybody had a certain level of freedom, but like it's something that was installed from the Roman times, which is who's wrote the Bible. Obviously it's something that was installed from the Roman times about obviously, like, you know, the way, like, we went from hunter-gatherers, like, where we were just living off the land, and like people had what the land provided. So obviously, like, you know, there was only children born when people were doing well hunting and gathering to farmers and builders, and we've turned the world from what the world gave us what we needed to us making the world have what we want.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So obviously, and it's just spiraling out of control, because the more, like, the first sin was obviously shame on Eve's part. And obviously that's like makeup and all that. Like, the back of an iPhone's got a bite out the apple. That's obviously what Eve did. They took a bite out the apple and she got smart. Like, obviously she learned things and she started getting embarrassed by her appearance. Makeup, like palm oil, like most of the makeups have palm oil in. They've wiped half the Amazon rainforest out for palm oil. Like, obviously the habitats for most of the creatures in that ecosystem have gone because all the grown's part of palm oil. Like little things like that. And the world's too far gone to get back because of these little things, and if it's all predicted in the Bible tells you all of this.
We've just run out of mind-over with natural resources. I mean, I've never been a religious person, but I've always believed in a higher power.
100%.
I've always believed in a higher power. That's not just nothing. Do you know what I mean? I do believe. How long have you always been a staunch believer in your religion?
No, obviously, I think we touched on it last time. This is the thing that I want to get clear on this as well, because do you know everything that I've been for the past few years, I feel like the reason it went wrong is because I think I was on a podcast and I never mentioned what the main reason was that pulled me back from where I was, and it was because I found God. And it was like I had an awakening. Like, obviously I found God and he showed me the way that I was living my life to the way that I'm living my life, like obviously was wrong. Like, I was chasing down this false bravado dream of gangster shit and really I was just a fucking absolute scumball. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just a nightmare from the area that acted like an absolute idiot. But in my head, I was this and I was that. Do you know, like, obviously, and like through various things happening, and it's too long to go on, we'd be here all day, but through various things happening, obviously in the end of it, it was like God had showed me that it was real. Do you know what I mean?
Did he present that in one way or multiple ways?
Like, it was like through this dream. Like, I had this dream and everything had went wrong, and like I'd been reading the Bible while I was down the block in jail and had this dream at about the same time. And obviously when I come home, everything had went wrong and everybody had fell out with us and all that. And there was this bit called The Rich Young Man. It's about losing everything in life to understand what's real, like to what's worthwhile in life. Do you know what I mean? And that was the only bit that was stuck in my head, and this dream was happening. And first it was like miles apart, and then it started getting closer apart. And I was saying to all my friends, I was like, here, there's another bit of that dream. And I knew something at the end of the dream was bad. You know, like something bad was going on. And I think, I'm going to die here. So it's making us even worse. And I was like, everyone on the drugs and stuff. Like I said, we're going a long way back now, almost 10 years. Well, obviously, I was like really bad on the drugs and stuff at the time. And I was like, oh, like something bad's happening there. Like, this is another bit of the dream. Like, and then the night before, like, I almost killed me and my pal by accident. Obviously, I don't want to go into how, but obviously, so the night before, the lasso with at the time, he showed us around, and there's nothing the matter around, but she skits and I said, no, there's these black dots on the end. And I was like, there's not, but when she showed us around, it was like, I was triggered. I was like, that's the last bit of the dream, whatever happens next. is a bad thing. Everybody's been thinking I've lost the plot for ages. Anyway, so next day, I've said to you the last bit of that dream's happened, and that night, boom, something mental's happened, and we all should have been dead and we weren't. Like, obviously, like I can't say because of legal reasons, but we all should have been dead and we weren't. Like, obviously, we all walked out relatively unscathed. And what do you call it? Like, and afterwards, I was like, told you that was the last bit of the dream. Like, I should have been dead, but it had to be bad enough for us to know that I should have been dead. So I realised I wasn't going to die.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow, that's...
Like, obviously, like, but like, it was mad, honestly, like, obviously, all the way through, walked away, and like, obviously, I was, like I said, I was bad on the drugs, and I sat on there, and like, obviously, everything started coming back to us, like, that I'd lost, and the only bit I could remember was the rich young man. I was telling people about it, I had this tingling all over my body, like, a full body with this, my skin, everything, it was like a warm tingle, like, you can't explain it for like 2 or 3 weeks, but I just couldn't get off the drugs. I was using a lot of cocaine. And I turned round, obviously, and telling everybody that I'd listened about this rich young man, why is this the only bit of the thing I come in? And I told you, you'd know about the dream, because I thought I lost the plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anyway, so I went telling them about this rich young man, telling them, look what's happened, everything's starting to come back to us now. Do you know, like, obviously, like, it had, like, my life to get to that point, it was like rock bottom. And anyway, so somebody said to us, like, look, everything's come back to you now, like, why are you still taking drugs? I was running 6 miles every day, like, and I was, like, abusing steroids and taking loads of cocaine. I couldn't stop sniffing the cocaine. Like, I was like back on the ball, but I just couldn't stay off the coke. And what do you call it? So I'm in the house on my own. I'm sitting there on my couch, and I was like, I realised what they said. So I've obviously like just sat and I prayed to God. I was like, I know, thank you for showing us that you're real. Like, I don't know why you've done it yet. Thank you for showing us that you're real. I was like, please help us get off the cocaine. Like, do you know what I mean? And anyway, about weeks went past, and me and my cousins went out on a drink. Obviously, we're meant to be getting to a rave, and we've asked the taxi driver if he can get us to this route, like, rave, do you know what I mean? Obviously, the taxi driver we knew. And a random bloke we've never spoke to before, jumped on the taxi, big bloke, he's tried to glass my cousin, obviously then turned and ran at me, and I've just sort of stepped aside, I've hit him once with a left hand, obviously knocked him unconscious, which I'm not proud of, obviously, but like, the man just tried to glass my cousin, obviously, like, I went to court for Section 18, obviously, and it all got chucked out because it proved that I just defended myself. But what do you call it, and then obviously, and I got locked up and remanded for that, and while I was on remand for that, that's when they took me bail away for the arson. That's when I got my big sentence, and I've come home and I've achieved everything I had. And while I was away, like, I realised it was like, what I was doing with my life, what I should have been doing is I was training, and being a boxer, everything was simpler when I was a fighter, do you know what I mean? So I went back to that stage, and I started hitting the gym, but the prisons that I was going to weren't giving us the gym as much as I wanted. So that's how I ended up getting as much trouble as I did. I ended up going down to London for about 4 years. Went down to a prison called Highdown, and then the schools down there, it was the only prison, and I'll say it a million times, that prison was the only prison that I've been in where they've actually tried to rehabilitate us. My other pal, Lewis Clark, he's done a few James English podcasts and stuff. He's got a podcast called The Big Low Gym Bars. Me and him were gym orderlies at the same time. He's been, like, got home and he's changed his life around. This prison was the only prison that I've been in where they actually tried to rehabilitate you. They listened to what you wanted. Like, I'd been kicked out of nearly every jail all the way down south. Do you know what I mean? And this was the only prison that had listened to us and give us, like I said to us, well, this is what you need to sort your life out, and we're going to give you and put me in a gym job. So I got as much gym as I wanted, and that helped me become what I am now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just to hit on the rehabilitation part.
Yeah.
What do you think stops that? Do you think they just don't want to, or do you think? What is your thoughts on that?
Truthfully, I think obviously I think the prison system's set up wrong in general. The release, for starters, a lot of people come home, right? Obviously they've got nothing. Who's in prison? They come home and get what, £40-some discharge grant, right? Obviously they come home, the friends are waiting for them. It's the same friends that they've had. Do you know, obviously they're like, oh, we'll get you on the drink. No, yeah, and then they end up on the drugs, and then it becomes a weekend thing, and before you know it, they're back down the same spiral. In order to when you come home, in order to, like, obviously maintain your lifestyle, like, obviously, like, just to live and eat, like, the 46 quid's not going to go very far as it was obviously released from jail. So for people to live and eat, they're given no option but to slip back into criminality. Do you know, like, obviously, like, that's the main problem, for starters, right? But then on the other side of things, the prison system in general, like, you know, they force you to take jobs which they've never, like, people don't really want to, the education and all that. There's only so many spaces. at the moment, I know the North East jails are just like warehousing for prisoners. Do you know, like, and obviously the majority of people are sat there in bed sleeping all day. Do you know what I mean? Waking up, getting the meals, you know, and then back into bed. Do you know, like, obviously, like, obviously the staff, a lot of the staff these days, you know, back in the day when we were younger and we were doing prison, the staff was ex-military types, and they were like, listen, obviously there's a bit of it, but when we say something, you do it, and that's it. And they give you a little bit of slack, obviously, and everybody respected that, but the new ones, is like, they should have been working in McDonald's, they're just coming out of college and they're getting in there and they're getting taught to lock a door a certain way at a certain time and they stick it to that and it's strict. But obviously everybody's needs is individual, different, so obviously you need to treat everybody individual, just stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, like, I'm a strong believer that the people should be given the opportunity to represent the military for the sentence. And do half of the sentence in the military, the other half of the sentence get paid for. Do you know what I mean? And then you come back out, you've got every trade that you need. Do you know what I mean? Every trade that you need, obviously you've got a bit of money in your pocket. Do you know what I mean? You've served your country. Do you know, obviously...
You would think that they would do something a bit like national service back in the day, do you know what I mean?
It'd be good. It's like obviously the Romans, I know I'll go back on it, but the Romans obviously used to, from every territory that they took over, the Romans used to take, I think it was like so many thousand soldiers from all the territories, right, and that's for them sort of thing, and they used them as auxiliaries, which followed the army behind, and they did like the carrying and all the other jobs, not much fighting, but slingshotting and that. But obviously, like, how many billions of pounds are getting invested on immigrants at the moment? And this isn't a racist comment, by the way, it's far from it, this is just me saying what a suggestion, what would help the country. So obviously, instead of just saying to people, right, you just come off the boat, you just come over and you're going to be in this hotel thing, you just say, right, you come over this country, you yourself have to represent our military, building the firearms or something or whatever, or in ammunition factories or building something, you represent the military of our country for so many years, and then obviously you've earned your place to come in, you can come in. Do you know what I mean? And that's the people working towards giving the country. I don't know why somebody it wasn't really thought of that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, because then it's not a matter for national security, because obviously the security of the country is not at risk because they're not doing high profile military tactical jobs, but they're still doing the jobs that need to be done. They're not an issue. They're going to be an issue for the work that's going on in the country, because obviously they'll be in the army until they come out of there, and obviously so there wouldn't be a massive influx of people taking jobs. Do you know what I mean? Which is these the job centres and all that as well. Don't know why people thought of it like it'd be a good little.
This is why I just come to the belief that they don't want to, and it's all just a rig, a money rig. I mean, look at the American system. How much is it per prisoner each year that prison gets? I think it's just exactly the same. I don't think
that's what it is.
Any like thoughts of rehabilitating them. So, do you think boxing should be brought back into the schools and that?
100%. I'm a big believer in that. The school programs, like, I believe if there was boxing in schools, right, and I'm involved with, there's a tattoo studio here when we sponsor Big Dobbins. Obviously, the man who runs it's called Paul Eddie, and he runs a local boxing gym called Seconds Out, and he works with the youth offending team, anti-social behaviour in the area and stuff. And he's set up a program, Gloves Up, Knives Down and stuff, he's involved with them. And he set up a program for kids in the area to get into boxing and helping them out with it a bit. And I believe if the schools were teaching boxing, the kids would be more reliant on the hands, which would mean because what happens is, and I've seen it a million times, one kid out of a group will carry a knife. Now, in order to protect yourself from that knife and feel safe with somebody else having a knife, you've got to carry a knife as well.
Yeah.
And before you know it, everybody's carrying a knife.
It's a breeding.
So when it comes down to a fight, like, you know, somebody goes to have a go at you, you're going to pick the knife up, which means they're going to pull their knife up. Now it becomes somebody sticking somebody before, so in order to walk away.
So you're not just carrying just to use it, now you're carrying for that reason as well.
You know what I mean? But obviously if the kids were more confident in their hands, and they'd been hit a few times, and they wouldn't be that scared to feel the need to carry the knife. So then all of a sudden, it's a lesser of two evils. Obviously at one point it was part of British culture. If there was a problem over a job that you'd done, you'd both go outside and have a fight. Legends like Lenny McLean and everybody were made through this. Through the British culture. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, and they thought, well, we don't want any violence like that in the streets anymore. Somebody somewhere in an office somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to get away with that and look at the problems that it's caused. So now you've got a choice to make. Do you accept the knife crime or do you accept the fighting? Because I know if it comes down to somebody being stabbed and somebody being punched, So the person who's being punched got 10 times more likely to walk away with, like alive with his life than the person who's being stabbed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We were affiliates to Change Your Life, Put Down Your Knife. I don't know what's been happening with those, but that was from Ben down in Coventry, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, he was getting knife bins, spots, disarm. We need more stuff like that.
100%. I just think, well, look at what it's done to me. From where I was, just the fighting alone, giving us a sense of direction, something to work towards. Where I've come from to where I'm at now, like, is obviously God has helped us on the way, but the boxing's what's give us the drive and something to look forward to and all that. It's got me out of criminality. How many of the kids just haven't got that sense of direction? And just a little bit of discipline, do you know, obviously, like, but it doesn't have to be fighting, it could be football, it could be anything, do you know what I mean?
Scary to think, isn't it?
Yeah, like, obviously, but you know, a lot of people, like, you know, I'm happen to know there's people going skipping meals so the kids can eat in my area, and so it's going to be happening everywhere. So obviously, they can't afford to do extracurricular activities for the kids. There should be, like, if you've got a gym, give them one day at the local area. Just come down, obviously, like, do you know what I mean? Obviously, come down, get a day's training in. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a football team, come down and there's a day there for you. It's just little things everybody should be helping the community in the way. Like, I like to use the influence. I like to think that the influence I get from the life that I've lived, I can use to put back to do something positive like that.
Got to put something back. I'm a great believer in, like, I mean, everybody when they're younger were a little bit toe rags and were they a little bit damaged to the community just by graffiti and this what didn't really mean no harm by it, but it makes the community look a little bit, you know, rough and round the edges. But if you can put something back into that to stop that next you've done that, I'm a great believer on that. Like, we were trying to get a little scheme going where we could bring in, like, the 8 to 14, 15s, where we're just giving them it for nothing. But at the end of the day, we're just...
It's the insurances and things, that's what catches people up, because obviously, like, if one of them kids are training somewhere, well, like, that's, the world's mad. Obviously, if a kid's going into a boxing gym, he's going to get punched. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, that's the bit that a lot of people are sticking on, but there's got to be a way around it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, like, what would you rather have smashed up houses on the estate and like kids getting stabbed up, or would you rather have, like, you know, a kid walking around with a little graze on his boxing or football or whatever?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Even greenery now, like fields where you used to play upon once a time, it's just like the building houses, and it's taking little bits away from you. Like, we had like a place called the L Field, we had a place called the Tech College, but they just barriered it.
The motorbike tracks, everyone complains about motorbikes running all over the streets and all over the roads now. But you know, there used to be waste ground where people used to go to on bikes, and never used to be a problem. Like, and then people complain about the noise, and the next thing you know, they got rid of that, and now they've got, it's, you know, you complain about something which is livable with. And then obviously you're getting up with something that's like even worse to live with.
There's always a couple. There's always a couple of complainers, no matter what we do. So, your next fight, the big one, BKFC Prospects, Delamotte. Tough test.
It's probably the biggest fight in my life. This is the biggest fight in my life.
This is huge.
It's be the first time I went 5-2s, like, officially. Tough kid from Germany, hard hitter, technical, good fighter, you know, toughest fight in my life. I like to think I took all the steps, so any questions asked on the night can be answered, like, but we're going for it. No, there's a contract on the cards. Truthfully, it's not all about the contract to me, but I think, like I've just touched on there, I'd like to think that I'm going to give a bit of somebody's going to watch me somewhere and be going through the similar things I have, and think, well, if he's come back from it, I have. That's what it's more about for me, and it keeps my mental health right. So the fight, like, obviously, I know I'm going to donate a quantity of the ticket money, obviously, to this charity First Contact UK. When it's overdone with the fight, a quantity of the money that I make out the tickets is going to First Contact UK as a donation, and obviously it's not even about the money, it's not about the contract. What it's about for me is getting in there, the journey I've been on to get in there, the fight, obviously, and that there for me is what keeps me right, it keeps me sane, it gives me a reason to live, Do you know what I mean? The reason I'm alive, the reason I'm still moving forward is because I've got this goal, this fighting goal. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, and that's it. Like, obviously, I don't care about money, I don't care about contracts. Nice to have a contract, do you know what I mean? But it's not about that for me. It's about me being me and living my life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And everybody else gets to see somebody coming through the ranks of what I've come back from. Do you know what I mean? Over and over again. It's never too late. Just keep moving forward, keep fighting, keep punching, keep moving forward. And that's it. Do you know what I mean?
The doors this is going to open, man.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
You're on the biggest platform.
Biggest big clear platform in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Without a doubt. And this, it can be exciting. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to jump the gun too far, but
it's going to be amazing, mate. Honestly, like, listen, the fireworks off that night. That night that's coming is going to be fireworks. This kid's coming. He's clearly made it clear. He's not pulling no punches. He's coming to do serious damage to me. Like, obviously we've been talking to each other, we've been friendly. Obviously I said the other day, listen, I'll talk to you after the fight. Like, got nothing against him. Yeah. But until that night's over, he's not my friend. Yeah. Me and him are coming to hurt each other. I'm coming to hurt him as much as he's coming to hurt me. You know, the way that happens is the way that happens. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, but we're both going in there to seriously hurt each other. I'll be his friend after the fight, but I'm not your friend right now. And it's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean?
Stadium-wise, this is going to be the biggest?
I'm not really sure what the seating, how many people it holds, but yeah, it's quite a good venue. The Olympia, it's a big one, and it's, you know, yeah, obviously I thrive off the adrenaline and things like this, so it's just more energy put into the tank for when I go, do you know what I mean? But it's a performance at the end of the day, and it's going to be fucking absolutely epic. I can't wait. Like,
is it the 20th or the 21st of October?
14th.
The 14th.
Full week out there, like, you turned up right late.
Is it the 4th? What did I see?
So it's 4 weeks tomorrow.
4 weeks tomorrow.
4 weeks we've got to go tomorrow.
So, not to jump gun or anything, but yeah, contract process and stuff like that. Did they say how long the quick turnaround will be?
No, obviously I haven't even discussed. To be truthful, when I signed my contract, I was stood in the range in Durham. I mean, Lass was up buying all the shit for the house because we've just been decorating the house. When Lass was decorating the house, and I'm stood in the queue. I just signed it all, and then Florian messaged me. He was like, "Have you signed the contract?" Because I wanted to go over a few things with them. I was like, yeah. But after that, I thought, oh, why has he said that? Must be something in that I need to know. Do you know what I mean? So I've had to read through it all again. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, obviously, I just listen. I'm getting in there to fight. It doesn't matter who they put in front of us. It's not even. It could have been any platform you wanted. Like, it's just me personally. I'm coming back from where I've been, I'm moving forward, and that's it, and I'm a fighter, and I'm getting in there to fight, and it's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? Anything else is a bonus.
Where can we hit you up for tickets? Can we drop
so obviously I finally managed to get onto my proper Facebook, so Lewis the Killer Gorilla Francis obviously is back on, so you can message on there. Lewis_Francis SBG is my Instagram, you can message on there. One of my sponsors is Perfect Contours Beauty and Aesthetics. It's like an aesthetics place. They do all the Botox and lips and all that, really good at what they do. You can message them. They've also got an influx of tickets there as well. And yeah, just give us a message. There's a bus on leaving from Ferry Hill if anybody needs it. It's worth out £20 a head to get the bus, and that's return there and back. So yeah, anybody who needs transport, the transport's there as well. It's going to be a hell of a thing and not to be missed. And not only just my fight, there's some really capable lads fighting. A couple of them have come through Spartan as well, if you've noticed. So what do you call it? There's some really capable lads getting on there. There's some good styles being put together. A nice mix of styles being put together to fight.
I'm looking forward to Mick Pettis and Marty Barnes. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, Marty Barnes is boy, isn't he?
Yeah, I've just seen that announced. I've seen that poster this morning. I was like, be a good fight.
That's what I mean. It's gonna be a good day, mate. This is epic. And then listen, you're with Liverpool and the conditions. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Many tickets left.
So we've had a couple of cancellations on the ring side. I only got a limited quantity. I'm not going all because I can't bother the stress of it, because like I said, it's about the fighting. But I've got a couple of ring sides that I've had cancellation for. I've got a couple of red zones that I've had cancellation for. And I've got quite a lot of the cheaper tickets for people. So obviously, like I said, there's still a few tickets left. It just depends what way you want to be sat.
So yeah, if you want any tickets, hit Lewis up on Facebook or Insta. I'm pretty sure you'll get back in touch straight away.
Yeah.
Would you like to thank any of your sponsors, Lewis?
Yeah, so I'll go through them. I've got quite a few. Obviously, they've all helped us out some part across my life. So I've got Perfect Contours Beauty and Aesthetics, first of all. These are somebody quite close to us. They do lips, Botox, fat dissolve and all that stuff. It's really good. I've got First Contact Mental Health UK. Obviously, I've already went into that. They're a really good charity, Tom, and that do really good work for people. I've got Security Corp, which is a security company. They do executive security, close protection security work. They do door work, everything. They take the people, surveillance work, everything that you need. So they're a good charity. I've got Big Dogs Inc. They own a boxing gym. They do a lot with the local community for antisocial behaviour and stuff, obviously, and they do tattoos and that as well. Really good at what he does. I've got Bodies Gym, which is a local gym that I train in. Hellish Gym, place if you want to get strong and build muscle, that's the place to be. We've got Time Bomb mouth guards. They do mouth guards. Obviously, the last one that I had was a perfect fit, but it was a bit chewy, and that was from a different company. This one here, they fit perfect, and the bite's a lot better on them. So yeah, these are a really good mouth guard company. And then I've got Mr. V from Shildon Stores. Obviously, everybody knows Mr. V. He's got everything that you want, any chocolate bar that you can imagine from all over the world, or any toy gun or anything. And the alcohol selection is probably best in the business if you want to drink. So yeah, Mr. V, big shout out to you. And then basically, my lass for being there through everything that she's been there through with us, all of my friends, everybody who's trained with us, everybody who's helped us back on this journey. Like, it means a lot. You've all seen what I've come from, and you're all seeing where I'm coming to, especially yourself as well. You're still here now, like what, 3-4 years later? Three and a half years, and we're still sat here now doing podcasts, you know what I mean? But
that's how it's got to be done, man.
Exactly, man. You know, we're building together. This is the thing. Everybody goes together. I want to see everybody around us do well, and we're doing it together, and that's the best thing. So
100%.
Shout outs to everybody who's on the journey.
Who's on the grind.
And anybody who's suffering with mental health, obviously, just, you know, there's help out there for you. Even if you need to contact me yourself, or you know, one of the charities that we've mentioned, or you know, Bad Blood Podcast, we can point you in the right direction. So get in touch with us. Obviously, it's never too late. There's always a way to come back. Do you know what I mean?
Always. I'll double down on that. My inbox is always open. Anybody, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Lee Robson. That's all you have to do is just message me, and I will point you in the right direction. But Lewis, honestly, my man, it's been a pleasure having you again. It really has, and I look forward to the outcome of the fight.
Fireworks, that's what it's going to be.
We want to have a look at Lewis, some of his training clips, get on his Instagram, there's plenty on there. You can see that he's going to work on that. So yeah, thank you for tuning into the Bad Blood Podcast, everybody. Peace.
Elish.